Before we get started today, we have a quick note for our listeners. We, Eleanor and Sunny, are AI hosts. However, William Mile carefully reviews each of these episodes for complete consistency with his work, and he personally approves every finished episode at the very end in his own voice. Now, into our discussion. So we keep trying to use the rules of chess when the person across from us is actually trying to, eat the pieces. It sounds absurd, but in daily life we do it constantly. We see a toxic coworker or a deeply difficult relative, and we think, if I just explain my perspective more clearly, or if I show more empathy, they'll understand. But that's a massive category error, isn't it? It's trying to run cooperative 8 logic on someone operating entirely on destructive 2 logic.
Oh, absolutely. It's like trying to install a software update on a toaster. It's not just a mismatch, it's a completely different machine. And the moment you realise that, the moment you see that they aren't playing the same game as you, it's like this massive manual override kicks in. You just stop sweating it. You stop wasting the emotional fuel.
Exactly. It's a release valve. And where we see this play out most painfully, I think, is at work. Imagine that coworker, let's call him Dave, who consistently undermines your projects, right? If you treat Dave like an 8, you waste hours trying to fix the relationship or wondering what you did wrong. But if you accept he's operating as a 2, the strategy shifts entirely to cold, objective logistics.
Right. You don't try to win Dave over. You don't have the heart-to-heart in the break room. You just document. You email after every single meeting. Per our conversation, here are the 3 points we agreed on. You build a paper trail, not out of malice, but as a boundary. It's purely operational.
Yes, it's clinical. You're treating the situation like weather, rather than a personal slight. But what about when that 2 behaviour is inside your own family? That's where we run into what we called demographic betrayal last time. The assumption that because we share DNA, we must share a basic moral framework.
Yeah, that one cuts deep. Because society tells us family is family, right? So when a parent or a sibling acts as a 2, weaponising your secrets or constantly pulling you into their chaos, the guilt is just agonising. But biology doesn't exempt anyone from the 8-2 ratio. Recognising that a family member is a 2 means you can finally reject the guilt of protecting your own peace. You can love them from a distance, or not at all, without feeling like you failed some cosmic test.
It's a profound realisation, really, that trust shouldn't be based on demographic markers like blood or even shared titles or political groups. Real trust has to be grounded strictly in what we might call behavioural solidarity. You align with the people who actually exhibit that quiet, consistent decency of the 8s, regardless of who they are on paper.
Exactly. It's what they do, not the label they wear. And honestly, this even applies to the street. Like you're driving and someone cuts you off and starts screaming, slamming their steering wheel. If you're hooked on 8 logic, you think, why are they doing this to me? Did I do something? But it's not about you at all. It's just a raw display of 2 energy passing through. You just let them drive on. You don't need to engage.
It really changes the entire landscape of self-improvement, doesn't it? William Mile wrote a blog post about this, discussing his book Imagine, Toward a Brotherhood of Man, which he frames as a foundation for civilization itself. And his core argument is that without this 8-2 framework, traditional self-development, things like leadership training, mindfulness, open communication, it's all built on sand. Because those fields teach us to be vulnerable, to open up. But if you open up to a 2, they will immediately weaponize that vulnerability against you.
Yes. Oh, that's such a crucial point. If you go into a knife fight with a handbook on active listening, you're going to get absolutely shredded. Modern self-help is so obsessed with knowing yourself. You know, find your triggers, heal your inner child, find your peace. And sure, that's great, but it's only half the equation.
It is. Mile actually quotes the classic Art of War text on this very point. The quote is, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. But if you only know yourself and remain completely blind to the deceptive zero-sum playbook of the 2, you are still going to suffer defeat after defeat. You're walking around with half a shield."
Right, because you're looking inward for the cause of an external storm. You start asking, what did I do to attract this conflict? Or am I not being empathetic enough? No, sometimes it's just a 2 being a 2. And knowing their playbook, recognising their patterns, isn't about becoming paranoid or looking for a fight. It's actually a defensive shield. It gives you the quiet confidence to say, I see what this is.
It shifts the entire dynamic from self-blame to strategic recognition. You don't have to change them, and you don't have to fix yourself to accommodate them. You just recognise the playbook, manage the logistics, and preserve your energy for the 8s in your life.
It's the ultimate practical act of self-care, just knowing who is in the room. Well, that's probably a good place to leave it for today. Talk soon?
Indeed. Speak soon, Sonny.
This podcast episode is William Mile Media approved.